your favorite Bell Beverages products like Tamarinda, Bell, Cola, Puka, Big Boss, Squeeze, Breeze, Bell Malt, and more. Remove at least 20 labels and put them in an envelope with your name and contact. Drop them at any Bell Beverages depot or accredited distributor across the country. Yeah, customers with the highest entries will automatically win fantastic prizes in the Bell Chill and Win monthly rewards announced on TV, radio, and social media. The prizes include home furniture, appliances, hampers of Bell products, shopping vouchers, and the grand prize of a Kia Picanto. Bell, Chill, and Win. Everyone is a winner. For more information, you can call 0544 335800. Follow Bell Beverages on all social media platforms. Terms and conditions apply. Bell Beverages, refreshing the nation. And this advert is FDA approved. Dr. Yao Osafo is here. Hello, Doc.
Hi, Kwame.
How are you?
That's my E-Levy answer.
That's your answer, right?
That's my.
The doctor's not well. And it's not that he's sick. He's very, very fit and healthy, but Krumayeshi. And Doc.
Remember where the shade.
Remember where the shade.
I'm very well. Thank you.
Yes. And how's the team at Medicas?
Well, we're doing very well.
Awesome.
Everybody's fine. We all enjoyed the break.
Okay.
Thankfully, the May Day and then the Salah wasn't chaotic.
Oh,
usually the holidays are chaotic for hospitals.
Is it?
Yeah, people have too much fun at our expense, and then they come in and they have to, but we all got a bit of a break. So
then that's good.
Got the opportunity to recharge our batteries.
That's really good. Maybe the next coming days we'll see the aftermath of the chilling.
Exactly.
The Salah chilling. So
the Salah chilling.
Brace yourself.
Right.
One of our good friends has an issue and we thought we'd share with you so you can speak to it today.
Let's hear it.
Hi, Lexis. I'm a 29-year-old female and I work in the ICT sector. Yeah. I noticed a milky discharge from the nipples of both breasts at the beginning of this year. It's been on and off since then. Initially, I thought being a woman, it was okay. I'm not pregnant, neither do I have a baby. Last March, my period was scanty. 2 days instead of my regular 4. In April, the same. There are months I miss my periods. Starting February 2022. I tried reading around it and ended up getting more worried because I could not really relate to any of the causes except for the overstimulation. And even then, I'm not sure how much stimulation in as much as my partner does that a bit intensely. I've also heard that it could be as a result of breast cancer. I've not seen a doctor because I'm afraid my worst fears may be confirmed. I live with anxiety now as a result. So kindly get the drive doctor to explain why all this is happening to me. And we'll leave her name out for now.
Right. Good afternoon to all our listeners. And Kwame, we take a step back. I actually want to use today to celebrate one member of staff. So Rose Atabedu, she's a member of staff at our Medina branch.
Okay.
She's a medicine counter assistant. And Kwame, sometimes you engage somebody, you employ somebody, and you're not so convinced first impressions, but you say, okay, let's see how things go.
Let's try this.
Rose falls into that category. I will be very honest and say I was very skeptical, but in a year that she's been with us, she's been absolutely smashing.
Wow.
As an employee. She's very hardworking.
Good stuff.
She's very honest. And she's very, very dedicated to her work and to the clients. So I know she's doing the listening right now. And from me and then from the entire management team, Rose, I'd say well done and keep it up for the next year.
That's kind of you, honestly. That's kind of you. Shouts to you, Rosie.
Yeah. So, Kwame, today we're going to talk about a hormone. So hormones are chemical molecules.
Abagana deno the buy and hormone or see breast cancer and milk.
Just Kwame, once you saw breast, then the whole understanding of everything has changed. Why are you doing that?
Sorry.
You will come to the breast,
Okay.
but let's reserve it for later.
No,
Philip
but
also,
I thought you would start
harassed
from
me
there.
about the breast before I even came in here. Why? All
Hey.
of you. So
Wow.
today we're going to talk about a very important hormone called prolactin.
Prolactin.
Right. So hormones are chemical molecules that are produced in one part of the body and act in a different part of the body. They are chemical signaling molecules that send messages from one part of the body, or instructions. They carry instructions, and they allow our bodies to do that, to carry out specific functions. The brain has a part of it that we have nicknamed the master gland,
Okay.
where it is like the master control, where almost all the hormones in the body are produced or directly controlled from. And this part of the brain has a name that is a bit difficult to pronounce. It's called the pituitary gland. So that pituitary gland is the master gland, and it is a portion of it that is responsible for producing this particular hormone called prolactin. Prolactin, if you like, is a milk producing hormone. So prolactin, so milk producing hormone. It is usually found in very low quantities in our blood, both men and women. There are certain conditions where you can have a higher than normal level of prolactin in your blood, and sometimes you have lower than normal levels in your blood. When you have higher than normal levels of prolactin in your blood, we will term that situation hyperprolactinemia. Hyper means a lot,
Yeah.
and then the prolactin is the prolactin, the hormone, and then anemia refers to blood. So hyperprolactinemia means you have higher than normal levels of prolactin in your blood.
Okay.
Well, I mean, when this happens, then you would have certain manifestations in both men and women. Some of the manifestations are what our friend, I believe, is referring to. So she talks about milk secretion or discharge of a whitish or yellow-white substance coming from the breast, which she believes to be milk, or which she describes as milky. So that we will call galactorrhea, a situation where you are producing milk as a female or discharging milk from your nipples, but you're not in late pregnancy or you have not just given birth. So that is the normal thing that happens, that towards the end of the pregnancy, a woman under the influence of the female hormone estrogen will produce a lot more prolactin in the blood, which prepares the breasts. It preps the breast to be able to produce milk so that the mother can feed the child. So, Kwame, the breast is supposed to be used in feeding the baby and not adults. So I need to emphasize that point clearly.
Okay, sir.
So the brigade, led by Citizen Arthur, Philip, and the rest, I hope you are listening. The breast is for the newborn.
Right.
So those are the normal circumstances under which there will be milk coming from the breast. If at any point in time you have milk coming out of the female breast, we would think that it is associated with disease in most instances. And that disease, we would most of the time describe it as hyperprolactinemia, and it may have a number of different causes. An additional feature, if you are not discharging milk from your nipples, is menstrual irregularities. And I believe our caller also talked about the menstrual irregularities.
Yes, did it.
So sometimes you can have what we call amenorrhea, where you're not having your menses at all. So you were having your menses, now you're not having your menses. We'll call that secondary amenorrhea. So amenorrhea means that the woman is no longer experiencing her menses and she's still in the reproductive age group. So we'll call that amenorrhea. Then you can also have what we call another menstrual irregularity we call oligomenorrhea.
Okay.
So oligomenorrhea, then the woman has fewer than 8 menstrual cycles in a year. Fewer than 8. Some would say 6 to 8 in a year. Then we would describe that situation as oligomenorrhea. So these are examples of the menstrual irregularities that can occur in women as a sign that they are experiencing, they may have high levels of the hormone prolactin in their blood. Of course, there are other reasons why a woman may have amenorrhea or even oligomenorrhea. So it is not by no means exclusive. Another way it presents is infertility in women.
Wow.
Yes, infertility in women. So a woman in the reproductive age group, again, who is struggling to achieve a pregnancy will be investigated for that. And it is primarily because they have something we call anovulatory cycles, meaning they are having their menses or something, they are having their menses all right, but the menses is not associated with eggs production. So you don't produce eggs during the menstrual cycle, and therefore you are not able to achieve pregnancy. So that's for the women. Men can also, so this problem of high prolactin levels is not an exclusive problem of women. In men, then Kwame, it can also manifest as loss of libido. I feel the bill.
Wow,
Loss of libido. So what is libido? Kwame, libido is the one's overall desire for sex or sexual activities. So we expect that if you are a healthy a male or female, you should have it's difficult to define what a normal or average libido is. Because I was having a very interesting conversation with Philip before we came on air about how he spent his weekend.
Oh boy,
Yes.
oh boy.
And therefore I am cautious about saying what the normal libido is. So I would just say that one should have, a healthy adult male should have a healthy appetite for sex or sex-related activities. So when there is a drop in libido, it may be because you have high levels of prolactin. It is not because your wife has been bothering you with chop money until that kind of thing. Not because you are fighting over a lot of different things. No, but everything's fine. But you just don't have the drive for sex for a significant period of time. Then it may be because of that. So that's what we mean by the loss of libido. It can also cause what we describe as intermittent or complete erectile dysfunction. So this time around, the desire is there, but then abaju to.
Wow.
Yes. So you have a problem attaining and sustaining an erection. It may be as a result of that. Men can also experience infertility because high prolactin levels in the blood can also lead to a situation we call oligospermia, meaning you have lower than normal count of spermatozoa. When we take your semen and we do a semen analysis, the count is far lower than we would expect in a healthy adult male. So Kwame, these are some of the presentation. That's how it manifests. These are the things that a doctor would see, or you yourself as an individual, if you experience, you may want to pay a visit to your doctor, and your doctor will investigate you, one, possibly for high levels of this hormone called prolactin in your blood, or there might be other reasons behind it.
Well, if you have questions about this, please send us a WhatsApp message on 055-1111-997. I'm sure a lot of people can relate, and but how is there treatment for this?
Well, before we get to the treatment, let me talk about some of the known causes. Some of the known causes, because there are some culprits. what are the things that causes high levels of prolactin to accumulate in the blood? The first thing is estrogen excess, right? So estrogen is a female hormone which women produce a lot. The pregnant woman will produce a lot of this towards the end of pregnancy, and that stimulates the part of the brain, the pituitary gland, that produces the prolactin. So if you have excess of estrogens from, for example, the use of oral contraceptives, then you can develop hyperprolactinemia, and it may lead to you having a milky discharge, as well as the other symptoms that we talk about. Kwame, there's also excessive nipple stimulation. The way you are struggling to keep a straight face. Guilty as charged.
No.
No, nothing. Well, Kwame, have you lost your voice? Ghana's voice, afternoon voice on radio, all of a sudden.
I'm not in this WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Well, so excessive nipple stimulation is one of them. And then also chest wall trauma. Unfortunately, sometimes a woman can experience trauma to the chest and therefore the nipples. And this may subsequently later on lead to the hyperproduction of prolactin.
Wow.
Yes. So that's also one of them.
So those who chew it like granules.
Hey, Kwame, how do you know how they chew it?
Take your time before you cause the woman to have prolactin 9, 10.
Yes. High prolactin. So please take your time and be gentle. Don't do it every time. I mean, you have to modify it.
There are other places.
There are other
You
places.
understand?
Good.
In fact, we need to tackle this topic on Late Night Express with George Quay. People need to know that you have to be gentle.
You have to be gentle with the nipples. Right. Then you can also have medicines. And sometimes we doctors are responsible. These are iatrogenic, meaning that we prescribe certain medicines attempting to cure one condition. And as a side effect, you probably would have these. Some BP medicines are notorious for doing this. There's a BP medicine called Aldomate.
Yeah.
Aldomate. It is noted for doing that. There are medicines we use for managing people with severe agitation, especially their psychiatric medical conditions.
Yeah.
That can also do that. There are antipsychotics, all right, for treating people with psychotic disorders that also have high prolactin as a side effect. Kwame, there's a very popular drug that people take over the counter. They're not supposed to take it, but it's very available. It's called Metoclopramide. It's for vomiting. So anytime anybody is vomiting, they go to the pharmacy chef. I'm sure that they will give them that.
Okay.
I'm sure they will give them that. It can also do that. So as a side effect, it can increase the levels of prolactin and therefore lead you to experience all these things that we talked about. And then lastly, as a miscellaneous condition, people with chronic kidney disease, unfortunately, also develop high levels of prolactin in their blood. So Kwame, these are some of the things that we know to be a cause. There are tumors that can occur in the brain. I deliberately did not want to expand on that, but there's a part of the brain, as I mentioned, called the pituitary, where you can have a brain tumor, and that brain tumor will produce a lot of prolactin and lead to all of these symptoms.
Let me activate the phone lines because I'm sure people have questions. So you can call 0302216541 or send us a WhatsApp message on 05511111997. This one's quite interesting. Kweku says, Lexis, I sometimes see a semen-like discharge from my langa when I go to the loo. I don't see that during normal urination. I've done a test, but nothing shows. Is this related to what is being discussed?
Right, I can tell him that it is not related to what we're discussing, because the discharge we're talking about is a milky discharge, which is actually milk. If you look at it in women, it is actually milk. The milk that they would produce if they were having babies, or if they were pregnant, late pregnancy. It's the same type of milk but in this instance, she's a 29-year-old. She's not pregnant. She hasn't had a baby, and she's having a similar thing.
Does that particular discharge come only from the breasts, Or
Yes, if it's a milky, we are talking about a milky breast discharge.
Okay.
So not a milky discharge coming from the langa.
Okay.
But that one, I would advise him for us to look at it. Sometimes people have some other condition. It may not be an infection. It may be something we call a retrograde ejaculation that later on comes down again.
Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Yes, hi. Welcome. What's your name?
Isaac, calling from Voter Region.
All right, Isaac.
Central Town.
All right, go ahead, Isaac.
Okay, which part of the body is the pituitary gland located? And how does it operate?
So I think it's the second part of the question, but I was asking which part of the body is the pituitary gland located.
Okay.
That master gland that I talked about that produces most of the hormones in the body. It's in the brain. It's in the brain. So it is a structure in the brain.
Okay.
And it is the master gland, and it controls most of the hormones, if not all of the hormones that we produce in our bodies.
All right. Mamia just says, I have a 10-year-old daughter who, when you press the nipple, there's a colorless substance. Is there a problem?
Right. So that would be something that we will want to have a look at. So it is not milky like the way we know milk to be. From say the ideal or from the full cream milks that we know about, no, but it ranges from yellowish, yellow white to different colors. So I would advise that she would get her to see a healthcare professional, preferably a doctor, to examine her and come to a conclusion as to exactly what it is.
Okay. And lots of questions. I wish I could read all of them, dear. Do you have somebody on the line now? 0302216541. Lexis, good afternoon. I've been discharging for about 10 years now. I would like the doctor to explain reasons to me and if I have to see a doctor. That's from AC. She says it's 32 years.
Right. So if you are using discharge and you're talking about a nipple discharge, then it is absolutely imperative you see your doctor about it. It is not something that's supposed to happen normally. And like I'm telling you, if it is galactorrhea and it is because of prolactin, then you would have other symptoms as well. Menstrual irregularities. You may have infertility problems. And for her age, she's in that age where I believe she still has reproductive wishes. So it will be very, very important for her to have that properly investigated. And Kwame, let me use this opportunity to talk about how we manage it.
Okay.
We will have to really investigate and really establish a cause, because I mentioned that there are so many different etiological factors. And sometimes we investigate and we find absolutely nothing, and we give it a certain name. We just call it idiopathic hyperprolactinemia. So the first thing sometimes a doctor would do, having taken a thorough history and a physical examination, would be to order an MRI or a CT scan of the brain, so that we look at that region of the master gland, the pituitary area in particular, to look at whether or not there is some growth there that may be responsible for it. So you probably will get a CT or an MRI of the brain. We'll take blood samples, and then we would assay a whole host of hormones, not just the prolactin, but other sex-related hormones as well.
Okay. Hello?
Hello,
Hi, welcome. What's your name?
Charles.
All right, Charles, let's hear you.
Okay, please, how would you know if there's a problem with the master gland in the brain?
How would you know if there's a problem with the master gland?
Yes.
Right. So this is a PhD-like question. It's the master gland, so it produces a whole host of hormones. All right, and those hormones help us function every day. One of the functions we're talking about is the prolactin. So if you have a problem with the master gland, for example, you would be ill. You'll be ill with a host of different medical conditions, and you would know. It is nearly impossible for somebody to have a problem with their master gland and not visit the hospital. It will send you to the hospital. You have problems with your thyroid, you would have problems with your menstrual cycles, you will have growth problems, so a whole host of weight problems, obesity. so many different things that can go wrong.
I've stopped breastfeeding for 6 years now, but still, I have milk in my breast. But they said my prolactin level is normal.
Right. So it is also possible for you to have normal levels of the prolactin when we measure, because I did mention that some of the causes of the galactorrhea, or the secretion of the milk, it's not necessarily an increase in the levels of the prolactin, but nerve stimulation. So I don't know how often the nipples are being stimulated, but sometimes that it is. Sometimes even the underwear that the woman uses, it's enough to stimulate the nipples and cause that same effect as if it is being suckled by the newborn or by someone else. So it is possible for her to have normal levels of prolactin from a lab test and yet still be producing the milk. But it would also be very interesting to investigate her thoroughly and draw our own conclusions regarding that. So she should talk to us after the show.
Rejoice sends a very interesting question. She's asking, when we suck a lady's breast, what is the effect on the breast?
What is the effect on the breast? Well, we talked about one of the things is that it stimulates the nipples, and then you send messages to that part of the brain, the master gland that produces the prolactin, and sometimes it will produce a lot more prolactin, or directly it will cause the woman to produce milk from those milk producing cells. So that is the effect that you would have on it. But as to whether or not it will do any damage to the breast, oh no, debut.
Oh, it won't cause
that
any damage.
But even if it would, I won't say it on it. So that they go and say Dr. Safu, there's the one who said that. Then all the men will suffer subsequently. Hey.
Even what you said earlier, that is only for babies. Somebody sent a message that you can't come and sit here and be saying these things.
What you see?
You can't come and sit here and be saying that it's only for
I'm just talking about the normal function.
It's not used for feeding adults. Okay, I think we need to do a part 2 because a lot of people have questions on this. There's so many of the questions that I couldn't read.
Right.
And it looks like it's a very delicate issue. So maybe we can develop it a bit
right. So
more.
I think maybe we'll do a part 2 next week where we'll field a lot more questions.
Yes.
And then I'll go into a lot more detail probably about the master gland and the other hormones that it produces as well. So yes, maybe, Kwame, let's do a part 2 next week.
Okay.
Do you have time for one more question?
I think so.
All right.
Abena says, my daughter of 10 years hit her left developing breast on a wall, and that breast is flattened, but the other one is still developing. What do we do?
I would hesitate to attribute that to it. There's a lot of asymmetry with breast development, especially in that age group. There's a lot of asymmetry. They all don't develop at the same rate, and I'm sure that's exactly what is happening. But we would want to take a look at it and reassure the mother. But she should rest assured there's a lot of asymmetry in the initial stages of breast development. Okay,
good stuff. Let's get to have your number because a lot of people have questions.
Right. So those who want to reach out to us, the team is 0501 477 340. 0501 477 340.
We'll continue this education next week when Dr. Safok joins us, okay? If you have questions, please save them. Next week, we'll try and answer more questions because we've covered a chunk of the conversation around prolactin and the plenty brofu he was saying.
Galactorrhea
and Galacticus and Galilee.
Yeah, my dear supporters,
I'm Lexis. Stay tuned in. Let's find out what's happening